Welcome to our weekly podcast every Thursday, well, almost every Thursday on a Thursday at noon. We have with us, well, my name is Toni Weel, and we have with us Sara from Virtuous Unicorns, who is traveling. So won't be saying much because her voice keeps cutting in and out. Can't hear her anyway. But it's a good thing she's here. We love her energy. And of course, we have Gary with us, who is a beautiful addition to our podcast. And always love his insights, and they are so valuable. So we wanted to talk, or actually, it was my idea to talk, and Gary agreed with me. We talk about weight. It can be weight loss, that can be weight gain, and maintenance, maintaining your weight, and even absorption and malabsorption. And actually, Gary mentioned another one. We were talking about a case that I had, and he said, "Yeah, well, that's related to weight too." So we can talk about that. What do you think, Gary? Shall we start with that one question that we have from Kathleen?
Sure.
I need to find, where did I put it? It was here. Okay. And maybe Kathleen is here. She was going to try it. She said, I have a question about head drainage, especially the cerebellum area. I know I have calcium deposits in that region because I hear crunching when I lower my chin and turn my head side to side. I've had that as long as I can remember, and I was shocked to find out everyone doesn't hear it when they lower or turn their heads. Well, I do. I know my daily breath work and breathing practice will eventually help break them up. I also have lesions, acid burns on my brain and spinal cord. My question is, do you know where the back of the head drains to? All of the lymphatic drainage talk is about the front of the body, which I have been super focused on, and I open my 6 gates every morning as well as throughout the day. I am taking the, oh, no, I scrolled too far. I'm taking the eye health tincture, as well as using the eye wash every time I go pee. I am having a lot of mucus coming out of my eyes, which has improved my floaters. My sinuses are clear, so that got me wondering where the lymphatic system drains to. I know the general anatomy pretty well and know what direction to work in. I also rub my neurolymphatic points down my back, and I use a gua sha tool every day on my face and neck, front and back, and I'm working super hard on getting all of the mucus out. So, and she sent a few pictures of her eyes, and they are very, very, well, you would say green, but they're almost yellowish. And so she has originally blue eyes. But Gary, you were you started already with some really important points, and I thought, well, let's save this until we are live so you can show people.
Yeah, so yellow in the eyes is the second stage lymphatic congestion. There are 4 stages. And how many stages of cancer are there? 4. That's why they're called lymphomas, because they're in the lymph, they're not in the blood. And so we have to remember that moving the lymph is one of the most important things we can do to prevent or to eliminate things that like tumors, whether they're benign or cancerous, doesn't really matter. They're there because something foreign has entered the body and the body doesn't know what to do with it. So it starts building this little trash can, as Dr. Morse would say. And every time that you have that product, it puts it in that trash can, puts it in that container, and that's what makes it grow. So you're actually feeding it. And once you find out what it is and you stop doing it, and you get the lymphatic system moving, it will start to reduce that, and that tumor will go away, whether it's cancerous or benign. And taking the lymph nodes out, lymph nodes are like the septic tank in your house. The lymph goes there, and it takes that 3 pH or that cancerous cell, and it actually starts to dissolve it and turns it into approximately a 6 pH fluid, so that it can travel through the lymphatic system and be eliminated through the channels of elimination: urine, stool, sweat, right? Tears. These are all channels of elimination. So when those get stuck, that's when you start to get the buildup. And that's why keeping the 6 lymphatic gates open is so important. And we should go over those right now. I'm doing that a little bit different than I used to. And now I just put this shirt on, so I'm going to take it off so I can show you better the 6 lymphatic channels. And what I've started doing is we've started going through it twice. All right. Now, the thing about the cerebellum, the hole in the skull where your jugular vein and all your veins and your vagus nerve all come out behind the ear, and the largest lymph node in the neck is right here. Okay. And anything that you have going on in your spine, that's acid. So that when we talk about the spine, well, as Dr. Morse would say, you can't have a cell without lymph. Because if it's a cell, it absorbs, it eats, it digests, and it eliminates. So you have to have lymphatic system come along, clean that waste up, or the cell is sitting in waste. So if you have things going on in your spine has lymphatic channels too. So whether the cerebellum is draining down the spine, because it goes right up, right up into that when you're doing a deep breath, you're actually moving the cerebellum and the pineal gland. So I'll show you how to move the spinal fluid too, because there's a gate at the top and there's a gate at the bottom. And as you get that fluid moving, it will start to cleanse itself. Just like opening the 6 lymphatic gates, you're cleansing the body through the lymph, which keeps your blood alkaline, keeps the tissue alkaline, keeps the cells healthy, strong, gets rid of brain fog. All kinds of things happen when you open these lymphatic gates. So we started on the left side, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a V shape with our fingers right next to our neck, right at the collarbone, right here, above it and below it. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to go 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will help immensely with weight loss, because most of it's congestion. It's your body, the tissue is starting to get dense, so it can't flow properly, and it steals your energy because the energy is trying to work its way through there, and it takes more energy to do that. Now we're going to do the right side, above and below the collarbone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Okay. Then we go behind the earlobe, right above the jaw. And I'm doing this a little bit different now. I'm using my thumb in here. And when I press, I'm going down around the corner of the jaw. So I'm actually, I don't know if you can see this, but we're actually, here's the top of the jaw. Here's the corner. We go around it. You can use your finger. You don't have to use your thumb. And we do 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. All right. And then 9 times down the big muscle on the side of the neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So that's going right into this. This is, our whole body is based on pressure, right? Our internal pressure is about 14.3. And what that does is it keeps the atmosphere from crushing us, because 14.3 is the pressure the atmosphere puts on everything. So we're going to go behind this ear. Okay. We're just going to go around the corner here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we go down the neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I've changed up a little bit. We used to go to the shoulder here, and where the crease is, and this is what bothered me about this particular one. Most of our lymph nodes are under our arm. But this is the channel for it to come up to get to gate 1. All right. So what we do now is we put our thumb in that groove and we put our fingers under our armpit and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. All right. Now we're going to go to gate 4, which is right under the solar plexus and goes straight down right around the belly button. All right. But to get a full belly breath, we want our hands on our rib cage. And when we inhale and we do our belly breath, we want to watch our hands separate if at all possible. All right. So inhale through the nose. Feel that rib cage expand. And then we exhale through the mouth. We start rubbing all the way down around the belly button. Go right around the belly button. Back up, back down. Okay. And then off to the side. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we push. This is massaging all your organs and glands. It's moving everything around. It's putting pressure on the tissue, helping to move out those toxins so that the lymphatic system can get to it. You're moving blood and lymph. And then we just tap. Now, the thing was, we focused on the front. That is what it appears to be. But when this gate is open, everything from the back comes around and goes up through into here. So the back comes around to the front. So when we do gate 5, that's gate 4. Gate 5 is the groin, right? And we go down in between our legs with the flat of our hands. And then as we come back up, we go to a knife's edge. Okay. So we're actually just going to rub it. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Now remember, when these gates are open, everything is coming from the back to the front to get these gates, because that's how the lymphatic system works. Knees, that's gate 6. Now, what's interesting about the knees, and we'll do 9 on each side here, go behind the knee with the hands like so, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and then we do the other one. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's so important about keeping this gate open? Okay. Everything from the feet comes up through the knees, through gate 5, through gate 4, 3, and goes into 1. And that's how the body eliminates lymphatic waste from the body. Now, what's important about the knee? People have knee problems. And we'll be getting into, matter of fact, I think I'll do that right now. So we're going to do the whole routine. So we slap the kneecaps 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We go to this knee, both sides, so that by the kneecaps. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we go to the other knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. What that's doing when this gate is open, the fluid, the lymph and the blood come around from the back and they hydrate, feed, and oxygenate your kneecaps. Those gates are closed, then it starts to back up, and you get things like arthritis or knee issues, cartilage that starts to degenerate because it's not being fed, it's not being hydrated, and it's not being cleaned. So dehydration. The cells in your kneecaps or wherever it is in your body are literally dying of thirst, dying from malnutrition, and lack of oxygen. So that's why it's important that we do our breath work and then we get these channels open, right? So now we're going to go back. This is the second part of this routine. We tap and we rub. And we can come right down. And we want to push on the tissue. This is a lot of the breast cancer issues that people are having. It comes from lymph and it backs up here. So we want to start pushing that fluid down into the lymph nodes, and the lymph nodes will send it up to gate 1. Okay. Then up behind the ears, we more or less just tap the neck and we can rub it. It's easier for me to do it this way. Anybody that can do it this way, fine, do it. It's a matter of moving it. It's not a matter of which hand you use. Okay. So then and go under the arms. We tap and we move. And then gate 4, we'll just tap this time. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Gate 5, we tap. Gate 6, we rub. Okay, now that's 3 lymphatic pumps. Because if you want to lose weight, you need to get these channels open so things start moving. Stagnation is what causes weight gain. If your gates are open in certain areas and they're closed in others, you're going to have an issue in that area. An alkalized body can experience no pain. So if you have pain, there's acid in that area. And that's what we're doing, trying to move that out, right? So we need to get that lymph moving. So balls of the feet, diaphragm. Those are the 3 major diaphragms in the body that move lymph. When you breathe through your nose, diaphragm drops. It's massaging these organs and glands. And you exhale through your mouth. And you exhale everything out. And you hold. Okay? You're strengthening your core. You're moving that blood. You're moving that lymph. So important to do that. The other are the balls of the feet. So we do these ankle exercises where we just, on the ball of our foot, we just spin our foot around. And anybody who has ankle pain, you just take your time. Wherever the pain is, you don't go to the pain. You stay on the safe side of the pain. And eventually, that pain will go away. And I don't care if you've had it for years. We just had a lady at the Cancer Resource Center that I was teaching Qigong at. And I think we did 4 or 5 classes there. And all of her ankle pain went away, and it had been there for years. They've tried everything. They couldn't get rid of it. This is through the medical system, and they couldn't get rid of it. All right. So we have a pump right at our calf right here at the top. So that's what we're doing as we're doing these ankle exercises. We're helping that pump, which helps bring the fluid up to the knee and then up through. Most of our detox is at night from our waist down is when we lay down. During the day, our body, our movements and everything, we're bending over. A lot of our detox for the waist up is from movement. Now, there was a thing about crunching noises in the neck. Very common because we don't use our necks. We're moving like this all the time. Well, instead, move like this. Move around. I mean, I still get little crunches going on, and I've had major head injuries. Okay? But take your time. Okay? I was going a little fast there. But if you want to do something, inhale. And then when you exhale, just slowly rotate your head to the side and down to the middle. This is the exhale. And then inhale. And just slowly go to the other side. If that's too painful, just go side to side. So in your neck, C3, 4, and 5 keeps you alive. That comes out through that hole in the back of your head on each side and comes down through. This is the vagus nerve, parasympathetic, and that is connected to your digestive system. Your vagus nerve is all through your whole stomach. Your whole digestive system is all involved in that. So the sympathetic nerve, which is fight or flight, shuts down your ability to think and to digest, and it affects your heart rate. It affects your energy. You're usually a shallow breather. If you're around shallow breathers and you're really sensitive to breath, you'll hear it's very quick. Almost like a dog panting. Where people who are like athletes and things, and they can run a mile and they never open their mouth. They're constantly breathing through the nose. That is the parasympathetic. It turns it on. The in-breath is sympathetic. That is fight or flight. So when you are afraid of something, like really afraid of something, and you go, you're breathing that energy in, it gets stuck in the body. And if it's fear, it's in the kidneys. If it's anger, it's in the liver. If it's sadness, it's in the lungs. If it's shame and guilt, it's in the womb. Everywhere in the body. True fright, kneecaps. They can ache for hours after, and they're usually jumping up and down. Your kneecaps are jumping up and down if you're really frightened. So we have all these areas in the body that hold this, and it puts a weird vibration in there. So if you're angry about something, you hold that for years, and that frequency in the liver, is not harmonious with the liver. Over years, it will start to break it down. And the more anger that you bring in, that anger, right? That goes right to your liver. That's why it's so important to let things go. Doesn't matter. It might matter at the time, but what matters more is that you realize your breath is changing. We tend to hold our breath when we're angry. And these things can all affect how our balance in our body is, our weight gain, our weight loss, it's affecting everything in the body. If it's the kidneys, the kidneys are the last things to go. When the kidneys go, we go. That's just how it is. No matter what happens to you in your life, that's the last thing to go is your kidneys. So it's really important to take care of them. So that neck issue, back to that, You just have to work at it. It's going to take a long time. I've been working on mine for years. I had a massive head injury and it crushed my whole right side. So I have a lot of neck things, and it took probably 2 years of, I still work on it once in a while, but tipping my head back, usually with my back supported right up to here, right up to the back of my neck, and tip my head back. And it feels like somebody's pushing on it, right? And it's pushing and pushing and pushing. And I'm going, you're going to break my neck. And it would take probably 10 or 15 seconds to be able to just start to pick my head back up. And it would take a long time to get my head moving. But all those things are correcting themselves. And even though it was uncomfortable, I understood what was happening. I understood that it was just trying to realign my body. And I still, just last night in meditation, I did some amazing stretches that I would not normally do. But you give your body permission to relax. A lot of weight gain is from stress, and your comfort foods and our foods are not the same. And if you're on Ozempic, I got to tell you, I've been writing stuff down today specifically for this talk. Okay. These are FDA warnings, but they haven't taken it off the market. So you might want to pay attention to the FDA and what they know, and they still allow this drug to be sold. So I wrote some of this stuff down. And the biggest one is paralysis. Digestive paralysis is what Ozempic causes. And there's also Wegovy, Zepbound, Trulicity, and Beta. They all have venom from a Gila monster in them. And what does that poison do? It paralyzes. And this specific thing paralyzes your stomach. And people who have been on Ozempic for not that long, and they start really getting paralysis of the digestive system, chances are it'll never come back. I do believe that whatever is consumed in the body can be eliminated from the body. So it's going to take a while to figure that out. But what will happen during that paralysis is every time you eat, you'll vomit. For years, maybe the rest of your life. Because you wanted to lose weight and you went to an outside source, not in here. We're trying, this Joe Dispenza, I believe, is the one that said this. We're training the body to a new mind. We're training the body to a new mind, because the old one is what got this in trouble in the first place. The heart is the heart of everything. It is the earth. If you take heart and take the H, and this is what my friend Brian out in New Mexico told me. You take the H off in heart and put it over on the other side of the T, and you have earth. Because this and earth are the same. They're energy. And they're projecting energy. This is the only thing in the body that actually produces energy. The brain is the biggest consumer of it. And as we get congested and we get sick, because it causes inflammation, and inflammation causes pain. That's why ice baths, you see athletes doing ice baths. It'll prevent injuries down the road. And the injuries you have, it will reduce them because it will reduce the inflammation. So cold showers, really important. Ice baths. I just did 14 days of cold plunges in the lake up here in Maine. There was still snow on the ground, but it was the 1st of March. And it's so important to just surrender to the inner self and the wisdom in it than it is to go outside looking for something out there that somebody made in a factory, in a petri dish, and is scientifically proven to be good for you. And think about this. Everything that's scientifically good for us has to be controlled through the FDA, right? And with this Ozempic and these other products, with this venom from a Gila monster in it, within 12 to 36 months, you can experience thyroid cancers of all kinds. And the doctors from around the world are now saying they're not just seeing thyroid cancer, they're seeing breast cancer that is exploding onto the market. Now, this is FDA approved, but these are FDA warnings. You gotta love this stuff. And the paralysis, gastroparalysis. Okay, these are things that we shouldn't even have in our body, because the AMA's favorite thing to do is poison us. And I get some of what they're saying, because it kicks the lymphatic system into play, our immune system. It kicks it into play because it has something to fight. Well, the more it fights it, the more energy it takes, and the less we have for our body to heal itself, because it's our energy from here that heals the body. And we are so, as a world, or as a nation, I should say, not every person, we've lost our ability to love things like each other. Look what's going on in North Carolina right now. The military hasn't even, I think they have 2 helicopters there, and there's like 50 that are personal helicopters that are going in and flying people out because they're stuck. If you're waiting for your government to do something for you, to help you, you're going to have a long, long, long wait. It's time that we take charge of our lives and what we're doing, because we're worth it, and it's up to us to teach the children. Because they're coming up into a world that is completely 100% vaccinated. So right now, there's, I think, 72 vaccines that you get through your life, and that's going to go way beyond that, because they already have like 20 more there in the pipeline they're waiting to bring out. So one child has 72, one boy, let's say, and one girl has 72. That's what, 144? So no experiment has ever been done to see what 144 vaccines will do in the baby who's going to get 72 vaccines. So we have to really be careful where we're going and what we're doing, because our food is not really food anymore. And I wrote this down yesterday, thinking about this class. If you want to know if your food is natural, look at the expiration date. Or if it doesn't have one, that's more natural than ever. But the longer the food can stay on the shelf, the shorter your lifespan and your health will be eating that food. It's not that you can't have it, but we're having too much of it. We're way overeating. That's the only thing they can do to raise profit, is to spread further around the world and to teach us to overeat. And or overeating is like legendary. So this is Ozempic and these other ones. They're also given for diabetes. And you know what it'll do? You ever heard of let's see. It's an optical. It's a retinopathy. And what that does is it makes you blind quicker than just having diabetes would do. That's what Ozempic does. And this stuff is legal. So you really want to pay attention to what's in your food and get it as natural as possible. Dairy isn't dairy anymore. Unless you're going to the farmer. But I'm not a big fan of people drinking milk anyway because it's so acidic. When you take a drink of milk and your throat fills with phlegm, that's acid going in your body, and it's causing mucus all the way right down through into your stomach, right over into your intestines. So it's really important to understand food that we're eating is not the food that our parents were eating, and it's surely not the food our grandparents were eating, and nothing like the food our great-grandparents were eating. Everything is becoming like synthesized. It's you can't grow something in a petri dish and expect it to work in an organic body. So more liquids, more water. The Master Cleanse, which is lemon, dark maple syrup, real maple syrup, not that Aunt Jemima stuff. Water, a pinch of salt, Himalayan, Celtic, real salt. Fruits, berries, melons. These are the things that are really good for us. And if you want to know the best to get, because everything is picked before it's ripe, if you happen to be fortunate enough to be where there's trees around and the birds don't get it before you do, or the squirrels or whatever, then that is real food. Designed by nature in a sterilized container with liquid for hydration, enzymes, nutrition, electrolytes, everything in there, and it helps digest it, so it takes a lot of burden off on the body. I feel like I'm rambling here, but
Well, let me say a few things. There are two things, and that is about the quality of the food, because a lot of people think, oh, it's also poor soil that it has been grown in. I do have an opinion about that, and it's more, and it has to do something with what Dr. Morse said too. If you grow something and there is poor soil, the fruit will not ripen. They will not grow because there is no food for it. So the roots will go deeper to find the food that it needs. Well, people keep saying that that is not the truth and it can't be, and it grows anyway, different ways then, but it grows. But now we have to add fulvic acid, or we have to add all kinds of vitamins from the whole alphabet, and the minerals and well, anything and everything. And what we learned from Dr. Morse is that it's all isolated chemistry and it's foreign to the body. The body doesn't even recognize it. So with using a ton of vitamins and minerals, synthetic or non-synthetic, it's still not a real food. So it wouldn't be sufficient good for your body.
that is true. And the other thing is the pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, all the things that they're putting on the plants have become drug addicts. They can't actually live without the chemicals because there's nothing left in the ground. That's what they're doing to our bodies.
Okay, but now, so say that because I grow some fruit myself.
Yep.
I did not buy, when I bought the plant, it was not an organic plant. It was just the way, well, actually, they have organic practices, but not officially. And I got the most juicy and really dark color yellow mangoes that were amazing. I had never tasted anything like that, not ever from a store or even a
Mhm.
farmer. This was on my own soil. Now, it could be the love that I put in that tree that I got this in return, but there is a huge difference. And actually the plant was in a pot, and I'm not even big on adding foods to it for the plant itself, but it still gave me this beautiful fruit. So it can be done even if you grow it in a pot, although, if you get 20, 30 mangoes per season from your tree, it's not nearly enough to even last a week. But is there something to it? Because you say, the plants are being drugged to grow. So then, yes, you don't have, there is no good fruit. But now you get the organic, so they cannot spray all the same stuff on it. I don't know if the soil that it's been growing in is any healthier, or is there some truth to it that the roots will just go deeper to find the food that it needs to grow?
Well, I'm talking factory farms.
Okay. Well, we don't want
So,
factory grown any food actually. So
right.
for me, it's mostly it's organic. But yes, I have used non-organic cherries and what is the other one? Watermelon, the seeded watermelon. They are juicy. They're very sweet and absolutely delicious. They have no aftertaste. What an even an organic, a non-seeded watermelon did have. It did have an odd taste to it.
Yeah, and they're injecting a lot of watermelons with I don't know what they're injecting them with, but they're making them like rubber. You can cut it open and you
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
And I've had a few watermelons that I bought that they were weird inside. They were almost like melted in certain spots. And I don't know if that was the injection site. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
um,
Yeah, I heard
so
from people about that was not really real. I have only two addresses where I get the watermelons from. One is on the farmer's market and the other one is Sprouts. Only the last week Sprouts didn't have any, and I realized, it's not in season anymore, so it's going to be more difficult. So on to other fruits. But I was just wondering, if there is a truth to it that, and it would make sense to me. I mean, if a tree needs the food, the roots go deeper to find the nutrition that it needs to be able to give you the fruit, and not without the chemicals. I mean, there are no, but the soil can be, the soil can still be poor, the topsoil.
Mhm.
Do these plants, are they dependent on the topsoil? Because it makes so much sense to me that the roots would go deeper to get the nutrition they need.
Well, that is true. And things like dandelions, they'll send their roots way down and mullein too. But dandelion is specifically. Dandelion will grow on a lawn, and what it's doing is it's going deep down in the earth and it's bringing that nutrition up to the top soil. And when it has done what it needs to do, it'll leave. When it's actually brought the pH and the microorganisms and everything, the nutrition to what it needs, the dandelion won't grow there anymore. It'll move off. Mullein is the same way. You see mullein on the interstate a lot, and mullein is a great herb for lungs, and so uh, yeah, there are plants that are keeping the topsoil in shape, but if you're spraying it with poisons, it can't do that. So that's what's happening on your factory farms is the roots can't actually go deep enough because the poisons, only 1% of a pesticide actually stays on the plant, and it's an oil, and so the rain won't wash it off. So 1% lands, 99% lands on the earth. And when it rains, it pushes it down in the ground, and the soil actually becomes almost like concrete. All the microorganisms and everything that's down in there that's turning the minerals into a liquid for the plants, and the plants are giving like a sugar to the microorganisms. So they're living off the sugar, and what the microorganisms are doing is providing the food for the plant to pull up inside. Well, they've completely cut that off. And that's what's happening to humanity. That's why they're making it illegal to have farms, and they say that the egg yolk in a natural egg, or an egg that it's not GMO, is killing the protein that's in the shot, it's in the jab. And you notice they're wiping out all the chickens. They're wiping out all the beef. They're wiping out everything so that we are forced to eat. That's the ultimate plan. Unless we wake up and we stop it, they're forcing us to eat synthetic foods, and they control every single enzyme, and they'll all be synthetic. They already have synthetic enzymes. They have a plastic pancreas. And they are so excited about this pancreas because they can replace yours with a plastic pancreas with synthetic enzymes in it to digest your food. They have this thing called a cleaver. They take out your kidneys and your liver, and they put this filter in that filters it instead of your body naturally. So we're becoming more and more fake. Eventually, if we don't wake up and start paying attention to what's going on, we're going to be, I don't know what that word is, but we're not going to be completely human.
Yeah, when you talk about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, when you talk about that, we actually don't get to nutrition anymore because of how the food has been growing. Could that be the case also there are a lot of people, and I hear more people nowadays about having or losing too much weight instead of not being able to lose weight at all. Because I had weight issues since I was a young teenager. Throughout my life, always yo-yoing, it's on and off. When I gave up and then I met Dr. Morse, and I got I took his advice, and no fats, no nuts, avocado, coconut, oils, whatever. The weight was just flying off, so that made it easy. If I eat something else, comes right back on. But then we know it's the wrong foods. But now you have people that have issues keeping the weight on, and for me, it seems almost like when you lose that much weight, we know about an absorption issue. A lot of people have parathyroid issues, and they lose too much weight. And I see that with my husband too. He should not lose. He's already, well, here they call him skinny. In the Netherlands, he's normal, but that is just perception. But could it be that the people who lose so much weight, they just don't get the nutrition in because it's not necessarily in the food, and it's not only a problem, with how it is absorbed? Or is the absorption so bad in our body, and that would be the same for a person who stays, no, actually for everyone, even if you're overweight or not?
Yeah, there's a malabsorption issue for people that are super thin.
Well, I had a malabsorption issue even when I was overweight.
Yes. Well, that's the duality of malabsorption, right? One is congestion, and the other one is congestion in a thin body. It's acid, because if a cell is sitting in acid, it starts to build a mucus layer around it. And the thicker that mucus layer is, and the longer it's been there, the less absorption that cell can have. So until we get the lymphatic system moving, whether you're thin or you're heavy, until we get that moving and get that acid out of that area, then that malabsorption is going to persist. And that's going to take hydration and oxygen. So when we're breathing, right, think of a blacksmith, right? And he's got a horseshoe and he's got a fire pit there. And what does he have on the side? He has a bellows. It's a big air thing with a snout that goes down into the fire, and he pumps that, and it builds the fire back up so that the iron gets hot. Our lungs are bellows. And when we breathe in through the nose, nice deep belly breath, we're forcing the body to balance itself out, to move the lymph, to move the blood being the kitchen and the lymph being the bathroom of the body. So that's what keeps absorption going in the body in all those areas, because of movement. Sitting is the new smoking because you're closing off all the gates. Like if I just take this chair and I sit down, and like kids do, we sit like this. You're closing off your gate here. You're closing off your gate here, here, and here. And if this gate is closed, then this one can't, then the head can't drain. So that's why it's so important to, move your body and not run, not, it's not about super physical things. This is called the Zen swing. I learned this from Troy Casey, who learned it from Paul Chek at Chek Institute. Is to just do this right here. And actually, if you do it like this, the slower you do it, the more energy you build in your body. And energy created matter. So if there's something wrong with the matter, there's something wrong with the energy. It can't flow through. So as we breathe and we move and we hydrate and we get nutrition in our body, the movement creates energy using water, oxygen, and nutrition. But we have to have a clean surface. It's kind of like taking a tube, right? And we have fluid flowing through that tube. And all of a sudden, mud starts to mix in with it, and it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and then it can't function the way it used to. It can't flow. It's been reduced. Well, it can happen in two ways in the body. One, stress. So you've got a nerve, you've got an artery, you've got a vein, and all of a sudden things clamp on it. Well, it hurts for that nerve to go through there. It likes loose tissue so it can travel, right? And the same with the arteries. You have high blood pressure, there's a good chance they have inflammation in around those areas, and it's clamping down on those tubes, on the arteries and the veins. So if it has to push harder, the blood pressure goes up. So as you start to hydrate and move and breathe, that can go back down. And something else that will help reduce that. So if you're dehydrated and you have heart issues and you go to a hospital and they say, oh, you need to be rehydrated. Well, that bag has salt in it. It's I think it's 9 milligrams. Could be less. But anyway, there's salt in it. And if you have heart trouble and you have high blood pressure, they give you 2 bags. And they can watch your blood pressure go back down. Because it's salt is a sterilizer. It's also a crystal. That's what we are. We're crystals. We have crystal compounds all through our skeletal structure. Our pineal gland is completely covered with piezo crystals. And when we breathe, and get our shoulders involved. It squeezes on that primal brainstem, pushes up on the cerebellum, which will help drain that cerebellum if there's any pressure back there, right? And it shakes that pineal gland, which has those piezo crystals all around it, and they bang together. And when they do, they create energy. And the big talk, I was just thinking about this the other day, the big talk. Oh, you might have a calcified pineal gland. If you can have an orgasm, you don't have a calcified pineal gland. And that calcification on there is more like a slurry. It's more like it's not solid like we think of calcium, right? So in the breathing and the moving and the shaking, we start shaking that stuff off. The lymphatic system can pick it up and move it out of there. But that's the big test right there. And many times people have the ability to have an orgasm, but they can't shut their mind off, because all breath, whether you're traveling outside the body or you're having an experience within the body, you have to become no one, nowhere, no place, no time. And if you can't shut your mind off, a lot of these things won't work, because the energy from the solar system can't come down through the 8th chakra down through, and it can go out, or you can close off the pelvic area and the pelvic floor, and it will come back up the spine, and it'll go back into your brain, and it gives life either direction. And that's something that we're truly missing in life, is we're thinking about everything going out of the body, and we're looking outside in the outside world, trying to figure out what's going on in the body. Well, the inner body, once we start to really listen to it and pay attention to it, when we move our arm, feel the muscles moving. We're so oblivious. I've had people in class with bad knees, and I say, okay, so we're going to flex the knees. They can't. Their mind is not connected to it. That's why we touch things, so that you can feel it, and you can feel it move. And as you do, and you say, every time I tap my knees get stronger, they get healthier, my mind gets clearer, my digestive system, my immune system starts to empower itself. Because we are the commander-in-chief of this body. It was a gift. Energy came down and gifted us this body, but we have forgotten how to take care of it. And we're going to the experts that are using poison, trying to empower it, and it doesn't work. So we have to really be careful in this day and age as we're moving forward. And people have probably said that for 1,000 years. I mean, let's face it. It hasn't always been good. We've been eating GMO foods forever. You know, a carrot wasn't a carrot, and I don't think a broccoli was a broccoli. So we've modified certain things to come up with what we have for modern crops. And now we're going beyond, and we're just, like I said, we're poisoning. We're not. The system that's telling us that we're going to be healthy if we eat this is lying to us. And we have to wake up to that fact and find farms with real food that don't spray. And I'll tell you, farming is not an easy business. And not spraying, because it does have its benefits. But if you can't get it back off the food, which I don't believe, like Appeal, this new Bill Gates thing, they say you can't get it off the fruit. Well, I don't believe that. If it can be sprayed on it, it can be taken off in it somehow. I think that there are waters like 11.5 ionized water will emulsify oil.
Oh, I'm
So,
just thinking of something, Gary. Uh,
yes,
and that is those ginger soap plants. Have you ever seen them?
no,
It is a
that's
ginger, and they get these beautiful plants, long stalks, and you can squeeze them, and you can squeeze the liquid out of it, and then you don't cut it off. You just let it go, and then a while later you can do it again. And I had these plants for years, and it was actually that Sara said that it was soap, and I was like, okay, we got to try that. Now I am wondering. Nature always gives you something to resolve, whatever is going on, whatever the minds of people, the crazy minds of people come up with the chemicals. It seems there's always something in nature that can take care of it. And I wonder if that particular soap would do it. I have a whole jar of it.
well, you can always try it.
Yeah,
This
well, I
we're
haven't
here.
bought anything with a peel on it.
Yeah, okay. So,
I can do it even for, the apples are always waxed. We know that.
yes,
But yeah, it's interesting because there is always a solution for something. Like you said, if it they can put it on, we can take it off. But we need
right,
to know how and just try it out. Although, you don't really want to eat fruit that you know that is so heavily modified that it's not
right.
what it is supposed to be and it doesn't belong in our body, despite that you think that you could wash it off with whatever. So, but we're already over the hour, and I have a few more questions that are important.
Okay,
Janelle asked, will I need to open all the gates if I am rebounding?
yes,
Okay, well, that's the short
yes. And
answer.
you start with one, and this is the routine. One, right? Gate one. Everything flows into this gate. Gate two behind the ear. Gate three under the arm and right where the shoulder rounds in. Gate four, gate five, and gate six. Before you rebound, it's good to open those up because you have a gate that's stuck and you're moving blood and lymph, and that one is, let's say it's this one is stuck. Well, it can't get past here, so it's going to start building in this area. It's going to start building in the back. And as you open those and you move that, then you do your rebounding, you're going to have much better results with your overall health.
Okay, that's a good one
Um,
to know.
hey Toni, can you
Yeah.
hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, I'm about to go into a tunnel, but real quick, what about if people don't have their kidneys open and they're doing rebounding? Because I'm always hearing people rebound, it's so good for you, but then I'm always wondering, what if you don't have anywhere for that stagnated lymph to go to during rebounding or opening these?
Well, and my experience is that I got a really bad buildup in my calf, very painful. And because the kidneys were not filtering enough. Gary, what's your take on that?
I would open up the sixth lymphatic gate behind the knee. There's a pump here for blood, and there's a pump here for lymph. Uh, More hydration,
But still, it
and
needs to go somewhere. And then if your kidneys
oh
are,
yeah, well, yeah,
you know,
but your kidneys are going to push up to those lymphatic gates. I mean, it's coming out, right? So the other thing, this is a qigong move specifically for the kidneys to help open them up. And we take a breath in and we bend over. Now, what we're doing is we're actually putting pressure on the kidneys back here, and we're massaging them by dropping down. This is the exhale. Okay. And we turn our hips and we come up like this. This is the inhale, and then this is the exhale. And see how I'm turning my hips? I'm turning them specifically to put pressure on my kidneys. And you'll find this side will get more than this side. So then we go over here and we start going this way. Because when you turn, you're stretching your arm out, right? And you're putting a lot of pressure on that kidney, and you're moving all that stuff out. So it's and that's specifically for kidneys. And this is another kidney one. Kidney, liver, lungs, spleen, stomach. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this hand and put it back here like this. And this hand comes around like this. And we turn all the way to the back. And then we exhale. And then we inhale through the nose. And this is called a ringer. We're ringing the whole torso of the body, getting that. And this will help with weight reduction as well. Okay. So behind, inhale through the nose, exhale. Look back as far as you can, but don't push it. I've had people in class that pushed it and they were uncomfortable after that, as far as like their muscles went. Okay. So as we do anything that we do gently. And if there's a problem, like with your back or your hips or whatever, we go to where the pain, up to the pain, but not into the pain. So this is how that particular thing works. So that's kidneys, and that one actually is liver and spleen and stomach and kidneys and the whole 9 yards. So really important to do those.
Now, another question I have, and it has also to do with opening the 6 gates, and specifically for somebody who had breast amputation on one side, and 45 lymph nodes were taken out.
Yeah.
Despite that she told them she didn't want to do that, but the doctor said later he did that to prevent, listen to this, to prevent further issues. But now underneath the scar, it started to swell.
Yes.
So now
there's no place
now what
to go.
can you do?
You're going to have to start doing hot and cold baths, saunas like a steam. You're going to have to sweat to get that, to pull that through the tissues to get that out of there, out in the sunlight. If they can stand the sunlight, because people are like plants, right? Some like the shade, some like partial sun, some like full sun. Because we're just a cell out here in the world. It's just that we're mobile and a lot of cells are not. Grounding to the earth. Hydration is going to be important. Movement, get whatever side it is, getting this area to go and try and pull it, like doing gua sha or something like that, where you're pulling it up to this gate number 1. Make sure that gate is open. But it's like having a road that everything travels on, and then you cut it off. You cut the road, and there's no place for it to travel anymore. So you're going to have to try to move it someplace else. I believe this body is totally resourceful. And if it's injured somewhere, it'll find out another way to do things. And it'll be different for each person. It'll build new pathways. It's not going to build new lymph nodes, though. And in the wisdom of these surgeons, they're actually transplanting lymph nodes now. Well, let's see, we'll take out some over here, and we'll take some of these and we'll put them over here. Well, it wasn't designed to be over there. It was designed to be over here. They just can't leave well enough alone. So movement, the swelling, it's just fluid built up. And you're going to have to figure out how to get that out of there. And that's what I would suggest. sauna, infrared. I'd probably go with deep infrared sauna. Red light therapy, I guess probably the same thing. I don't know that it is, but pretty sure. Hot and cold to move the,
Cold on the spot itself.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, on that area, hot and cold on that area. Now in a, you know, in a sweat lodge or in a sauna or a steam room or something like that, it's gonna affect the whole body, which is a good thing too. But that's really that. I mean, that's about it because, you know, like I said, they're like the septic tank in your house, and if you take it out or you cut the line to your septic tank, keep flushing the toilet, it's going to back up in the house. Well, that's what happened. They took out the septic tank, and now it's backing up in the house.
Yeah, I have seen how it can go horribly wrong,
Yeah.
and she didn't survive, and it went really fast, and it was like absolutely horrendous.
And another thing is,
Criminal,
people are
criminal that they're
having,
doing these things.
yeah. I know some people that had colon cancer, and they had two different surgeons, supposedly the best in the country, whatever that means. They did them both a favor. They took out their gallbladder while they were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
As a favor.
Yeah.
And then they don't tell them that they have to change their diet. Because in that world, diet doesn't matter because they have no teaching in that area. It's all synthetic. All of it's synthetic. Synthetic lighting. You're trying to create something that's going to work in an organic body in a petri dish under synthetic lights with synthetic materials. I mean, it's like taking.
Yeah.
It's like taking. Go ahead.
I hope someday that we can change that whole system, that it just comes scrambling down. It is.
Well,
it is
if we don't, we're not going to be around to change it.
True, but you know, we keep plugging along and
Yep.
trying to educate people with exactly what is going on. And I do work with people who had chemotherapy and radiations and are on a dozen different pharmaceuticals, and then want to try the herbs and the pharmaceuticals. And yeah, it's not nice, but you know, we keep doing what we're doing, and I do have to go. I want to thank you again, Gary, for.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing?
Oh, you can say more than one thing. Go ahead.
Okay. So with the Ozempic and the other things, this is what you look for on the label. Exendin 4. It's EXENDIN. Exendin -4. That is Gila monster venom. And that's what's paralyzing people's stomachs.
Wow. Yeah, and then we
So if you see that on the
go
product,
yeah, we didn't even go into the nicotine patches.
no. Well, next
If
time.
anybody wants to know about that, go online and look up Dr. Ardis. I don't agree with everything that he is talking about, absolutely not. But his section about the nicotine patches was definitely interesting. And his name is spelled Ardis, ARDIS, drardis.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he's the one that brought to the front the Gila monster.
Yeah.
Venom in the Ozempic.
Oh, I didn't even know. I know there's a lot going on with that because I keep hearing that name.
And
So,
just remember, it's causing, there are hundreds of thousands of people right now that took that have these issues that we talked about. The hundreds of thousands have paralyzed stomachs now.
Wow.
And they can't digest their food. So every time they eat, they have to vomit because the body, it can't use it. It can't process it. So it gets rid of it. You vomit.
Yeah, it's a good thing I
So
am
it's
since
just one of
my,
the eliminated channels.
yeah, I think we both, for me at least, it was since my teens, or even younger, I did not want to get any pills, no pharmaceuticals. I was always interested in herbs, and I think that's actually a good thing and the reason I'm still here. So,
I
okay.
have a quick
Mhm.
question. I know we're trying to get off the phone, but what if somebody has been on Ozempic? I know a couple of my family members, close people, they were put on it because of their diabetes, and they're still on it right now. And so far, they're not showing any kind of signs
Mhm.
of it. And I know the one's been on it for over a year. How can they get off of it or try to avoid these then? And as I'm speaking it, I seriously doubt he'll ever come off of it, but just as a curiosity.
Well, yeah. Well, they will eventually. It takes 12 to 36 months for it to really start showing. So if they've been on it for a year, in the next few months, it could start showing up. Because what it does, as it starts to paralyze your stomach and your digestive system, the food just sits in your stomach. That's all. That's all. That's how it works. And you don't get hungry because you got food in your stomach and it's not being processed. Well, over time, it's going to ferment and it's going to cause more issues than ever. And uh, now I do not know, and I have not, and I'm going to research this actually. I'm glad you brought that up. If there are people it doesn't affect, because it seems so, there's got to be somebody that it doesn't affect.
Right. I was going to say there are also people out there who give themselves small doses of venom. People that work with snakes or venomous lizards of some sort,
Yeah.
they dose themselves with small doses of venom to try to do that. So I would be curious about it. I mean, I'd hate to really see them take their life in that direction. Yeah, I would definitely like to touch on the subject again. But
Yeah, to
wonderful
see how
information
many.
here.
Yeah, to see how many are actually not having any issues with it. There's got to be a reason that they haven't banned it.
Well, I mean, money for one. We always know
Well,
that.
yes, and
But
and I would.
who's I would say who's going to conduct the research in the first place? Are they even allowing that to happen? And who's going to be responsible for conducting the research? Then at that point, will they alter those results similar to what we've seen with eggs, butter, milk, so on?
Right, right, because we're moving into a synthetic world. It's gonna be all matrix. It's not gonna be like these trees you see behind me. Those will be all GMO eventually, if they
Yeah,
have their way.
they will. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So
Well, thank you so much for this information. I mean, I learned so much on this too, and I'm not one of the ones that does like move my lymph like purposely. I mean, I move my body every single day, and I'm always working
right.
and doing stuff. But I do want to start doing the purposely what your exercises that you go through every day, and start incorporating that into my daily routine as well.
Yeah, and I
Thank
have a
you.
lot of videos on Facebook that are just qigong. It's talking too, but it's just qigong to help move that lymph. And
Wonderful.
so it's all
Well,
good. We
yeah,
just have to figure it out.
Yep.
we are figuring it out, and we are
Yeah.
helping each other, and in more people So I would like to suggest to anybody listening, make sure you are subscribed and make sure that you share the information with whoever you love or don't love. Just share it. Get this
Yeah.
information out. It is important. And Gary and Sarah and I, the links are at the bottom of the description of the video, so you can always get a hold of us. And I would say, guys, thank you for being here.
Mm,
Much love to you all,
Thank
and
you.
till the next time.
thank you. It's no time like the present to start, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. That's
Thank
right.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.